What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Factory Town. And we've come straight in where we left off, actually, which is getting the workshop up and running automatically. So this is taking in now through the new belts we've created the wooden planks, and then obviously an easy supply of the logs as well. And this is creating us some wheels that we need for wagons or trailers, I think they technically are for now. And then the belts, which is what we're just using, so we're getting a stockpile of them to use them elsewhere. The biggest thing between the belts and the chutes is that the chutes, of course, can only go downhill. They are faster than the first belts, but they can't go uphill, whereas the belts can go up and down, however you like, round and round, because they are powered. But the first ones, the wooden ones, are quite slow. The next upgrade to them is the cloth variant, which is basically just adding cloth to them and I think a bit more wood. But for now, we'll make do with the wooden conveyor belts. Looking in, we have 16 houses, so nothing's changed again since last episode. Slowly that will increase, but remember to micromanage your houses, because your production line will, of course, get depleted faster every time you put down a new group of houses. So the wagons are what I was talking about, so I think I did say the right thing. And the wagon works exactly the same as a person. Now you can just see they're ever so slightly slower, but a wagon can transport four items, four of any items at once. And no, it doesn't need a person. It counts as a person. So it's basically a person carrying four things at once. Obviously a person can only carry one. The next level up from that is a station wagon, like a proper coach. And they can carry, I think it's 32, so quite a big jump. But for now, we do have them producing flowers, you can see at the bottom, but I need a lot more of the wooden belts to get that over to the actual market. And no, flour cannot be done on a chute. So upgrading there, we have now unlocked a few more items to upgrade, and that is including the fluid pipes, which is good for us because we do need fluid for our, well, water for our houses, and also the workshop lumber mill needs it to make paper. So jumping a little bit further on, you can see I've finished that line now, and the flour is about to make it into the market. Flour sells for 4 gold per, so as soon as they start going in, you should start seeing, and there they go, the 4s flicking up. That is the flour being sold. The grain on its own was selling for 1, the flour sells for 4. Top right as well, you can see I've actually added another line of wood chutes in there to help get more resources in. Don't be afraid, you can put 100 people on collecting wood, but if they can't put it down on a chute or a belt, then it's no faster. So don't be afraid to make multiple belts or chutes. Every single end of a belt or a chute you can tell the people to drop off at, but you can't tell them to drop off at midpoint on a chute. So getting some of the resources transferred over now. This is getting the polished stones over to the general store. They will be sold to our guys as well, and they are obviously for red coins. You can see the happiness there generally is 5 across the board, which is good. The houses are level 3, you can tell by the fact that they are ground roofed. And now we have some fluid pipes made. I will get those to automatically pump into all of the houses. The buildings that require or can use or store liquid, i.e. water in this case, are green. The ones that are white mean they don't require it and or can't use it. Now, I don't know the exact schematics or the plan of how it's supposed to work, but what I do know is although there is 9 circles on the houses, it only seems to take them in if you move them, put them into the center one. So plumbing into the outside ones doesn't always work. So always plumb into the center tile of the buildings, and so far I have never had a glitch or a bug with that. However, 1 well is nowhere near enough, so as you can see I'm chucking in 3 more. Now, at the minute, you can see it's not actually working. Only one of them is still working. That's because putting them on a sideways pipe will not work either. So always pull them out like so, and you can see immediately there's a lot more liquid there, and then drive them round, and now there's a much better flow of water. Once you've got them wired in, you should find, obviously, water is 1 gold per. Water from the wells is obviously infinite, it's just time-based, so it's easy gold for all of your houses especially. And then obviously over there to the right is going to the lumber mill to make easy paper, and there is one person stood there that is obviously taking the paper to the school, and that will give us our research that we require to unlock everything else. I will look at upgrading that very shortly. Likely to books is the next stage, which is just a bit more of a process, but I think I need cloth. So more research now. I am actually going to research farming. That's 100 gold and 100 research points. Researching farming allows us to do exactly what it says on the tin, and that is farm, and that includes all of the crops and trees. Now, just researching it is one step. It is quite expensive to do farming, mainly because of the actual crops. So to put down the farm, which is this building here, you can see the building and then the circumference of what is covered by its crops, where you can grow the crops. Within that area you can do 2 things. The first one being plant the actual crop, which costs anywhere from 5 to 25 gold coins per square. It soon adds up, trust me. You can then also, on the same tiles, put down farmland. The farmland increases the yield and growth rate, but requires a lot of manure to do it. I believe it's 2 manure per square. So you don't have to do it straight away, it's up to you how you do it. The farm also needs water. As you can see, it is a green building, so make sure to pipe that in. I'm doing that immediately now, and into the center tile, always the center tile. That way I've never known any glitch. Straight away there, the import is full, 20 water is in. So all this farm needs now is fertilizer, and I said manure, but it's called fertilizer, apologies. Go into the farming tab there, you can see farm tile at the top. It's 10 coins and 2 fertilizer per tile, and then below there are the seeds that you can buy as well at 10, 20 and 40 coins each. Now for us, the first thing we want to grow is the grain, because we already have a sort of plan there. We have grain, obviously, and then we have the food mill, which turns it into flour. Very quickly though, as soon as we unlock the kitchen, we'll be turning that flour into bread. That is worth, I believe it's 12 coins. So obviously grain is 1 coin, the flour is 4 coins, and the bread is 12 coins. So immediately, and if you look at the numbers, I think it's 2 grain to make flour, so that would be 2 gold to make the 4 gold, and then you need 2 flour to make the bread, so that's 2 flour, which is 8 gold, makes 12 gold. So it's always productive and always a good 50+% more efficient to create the better foods and goods. It's all the same. Get some more houses down, because the more houses we have, the more demand there is, and therefore the more money we will make quicker. I just can't figure out at this point how I want to build my town. Obviously these roads going straight through the houses aren't the best ones to use for moving goods about, because they are single lane, but I could do like a cool highway where I take the roads over the houses, because you can build up in this game, there's no limitation to that. Okay, so we need more wood, and to get more wood, they're going the wrong way, don't worry about it, I'll fix that. To get more wood, you just get more people collecting the wood, right? So I'm just going to jiggery-pokery these to make sure they're all flowing in the right direction. And then up here, I want to get some wood collected as well. And this is a perfect example of how you can collect it faster, because the drop-off point is the end of the chute. But if you make multiple drop-off points, you can gain multiple amounts of items at once. So doing that, I've now got 2 ends, one there, and I can put 3 people, and one here, and I can put 3 people. And then all you do is click the 3 people to each of those, and both of these chutes will then combine into that singular. Very unlikely that they're going to fill up that bar. I mean, look at the gap between the wood, it's quite significant. But the wood mill was running low, so that's what this is going to help out with. And very quickly you should see that filling it up as it is, and it will start backing up then also. Remember, this lumber mill is making planks and pipes, as in liquid pipes, and paper at the minute. So you can see it's starting to back up, which is a good thing. When it's backing up, you know you're providing enough resources, so you can leave it alone for a bit. That's how I do it anyway. Efficiency wise, it can't hurt. They are just going to wait on the belt. They won't decay or anything, so they'll just, the goods will wait on the belt or the chute for when they're needed. The only efficiency loss is probably you're using people that are collecting stuff that you don't need at that point. But with us looking at that as well, at the top you can see we're 46 out of 80 people. So we're only using just over half all the people we have, so that's not an issue either. So the next bit of research I'm going to do is around farming again, and that is the animal pasture. This is the building that allows you to, well, have animals. That includes chickens, cows, pigs, and maybe sheep. Can't remember. But remember, you don't actually see the animals. But they do provide resources, so chicken, eggs, wool, meat, manure, etc. And it's the manure, or fertilizer as it's called, that we are after. So we know that the farm that we've got set up there on the far right needs fertilizer in order to grow the crops or manage the crops. So we need a pasture to do so. Now, a pasture requires animal feed because of course it's for animals. So you go there and you say, what resource do you want? For us it's going to be just fertilizer, but obviously eggs. So 1 food and 3 wort makes an egg, or 2 food and 5 wort makes a chicken drumstick. But we're not after that, we're after the fertilizer. So we'll just provide the only thing it needs to make the animal feed is the grain, so we can do that easy enough. We've got plenty of grain knocking about. Once you've got it set up as well, the grain that you produce from your farm can go straight back into the animal pasture and feed itself. You just need to get that bit set up right. So there's a bit of jiggery-pokery going on here, but it's not too difficult to do. The animal feed, of course, comes out of the food mill automatically. We can turn that on. It will then get sent to the pasture. The pasture will create fertilizer. The fertilizer goes to the field, and the field grows the crops. I'm just doing some logistics, trying to make things fit. You don't want to see that, it's boring, right? I'll skip forward. And there we go. Now with the pusher on here, I can then push the items I don't want. So the animal feed I don't want going in the market. That's not something for the market. I'm just sharing about. The medical herbs I do. So what I'm doing is telling the pusher to push the animal feed into the animal pasture, so that produces the fertilizer, and then the actual what's left on the belt, which is the medicinal herb, will go to be sold. I moved it right down here because I'm actually going to change the infrastructure a little bit. The grain farms, all the farms I want to do along here. Try and keep everything together so it's not too difficult or complex for putting in belts and things. Because of course it is going to get a bit crazy when the farms start producing. Because the farms are very powerful and will produce a lot of resources. Now up here I am putting on the animal feed onto the belt. It then gets pulled off at the animal pasture, and then we just need to get the fertilizer out of there into the farm. And with a bit of scaffolding and moving over the farm as I said I was going to, we now have that set up as well. So there it comes. This is the fertilizer coming out of that first pasture, and that will go into the farm, and the farm now has everything it needs to run. Of course it's not showing water because I haven't moved the water pipe over yet, but that's easy enough to do. We have a bit of a backup on that belt. I've chucked too many things on it. It's got a bit out of hand. The chests there are to take stuff off that I want, but they're already full. So we'll get to that. But what we're actually paying attention to here is the fact that that's a lot of people. What am I doing? Picking up fertilizer and taking it. Yes. So the second one is also making fertilizer, but that fertilizer I am using people to store it in the town centre because you need that to put down the field plots to make them grow better. So I need to make them a road because they can't currently get there, but as soon as they can jump over there, they'll start carrying it. So the second one is for storing, and the first one is going directly into our first field farm, which is grain. And once you start having fertilizers stored up, you can then put down the field plots, which are the plots where you grow your crops and it increases the speed and output. There they are, field tiles. And each one of these obviously costs fertilizer and gold. So that's all I can build for now. Stay within the green lines. That's as far as you can build out for the farms. You can upgrade them, but you can never have more land. The only way you can take up more land is by building another farm. So that's the maximum land they can have. Now you will tell these are being processed correctly, because the tiles will change colour. So when they're watered, they'll go darker. When they're fertilised, they go like a more of an orange tint. We'll get the water in there now, and you should see them start to change colour. There they go, darkening up, which means they are watered as well. Now you can plant the crops without them. They're just less efficient, but still reasonably good. I'm just not, because I'm doing it this way, because I've got plenty of grain being collected by the manual people on that field to the far right where we started anyway. So for now, I'm just kind of getting the actual farm tiles put down so that I'm happy that it's finished. And there we go, almost there. All the seeds are planted. I'm just knocking out this back end because I need somewhere for the resources to go. And the resources being the grain itself. Now the grain can roll on a chute, so we'll use a chute because it's the cheapest option. Looking at the front corner there, the front, I suppose for us looking at the screen, it's the left hand side. You can see there is wheat planted, but I couldn't afford the tiles, but there you go, I've done it, and they got watered immediately. And then the ones there where they're dark are where they're fertilized as well. So that's how you can see that they're done. And once they're both watered and fertilized, you should get a really good amount of resource from there. You do have to wait for the crops to grow. So that's why nothing's happening at the minute. The crops need to grow. But as soon as they have grown to their final stage, from that point on, you shouldn't see a stop in the production. You'll see a lot of hearts popping up about where they're being harvested. But yeah, so you plant the crops, you do have to wait for them to grow. As soon as they have grown, from that point, you shouldn't see a break in the amount that it produces. Just trying to make the most of the logistics. I am going to actually chuck a food mill in over here, right next to the farm, so that the grain will come out of the farm. As you can see, it's already happening now. The grain will continue. That belt will stay very full. If we link this up, actually, you should see it just continues to flow. We'll tell it to make flour, and there it goes. And now you've got basically like an infinite source of grain. Just remember to obviously keep the water and the fertilizer coming in. And then from there, we can then take out the resources we want, which of course is flour still. The belt that went across the back, if you've noticed, I've ripped it out. It was too messy, so I'm actually going to put them on their own belts. This one is going to be the new belt that goes to the market, and that will be for all the flour I produce for now, until we can upgrade that to the next stage, which will need a kitchen to make flour. I will also put the kitchen over here as well, because there's no point having the kitchen or the food mill on the other side of the map to transfer the goods if you have all of the infrastructure to the final product in the same place, and then you just need to do a nice long line of transportation for the final product. That makes the most sense to me. Let me know if you disagree. Yes, deleting those trees was a lot of money, but also they were in my way. So as you can see, the grain is coming out, goes in, flour's coming out. This infrastructure is going to stay the same. And then I'm going to put a farm next to that, which will be my next resource, and the farm next to that. And everything will come out and be processed here, and then go back into the city as a finished thing.